My work centers around the expanding exploration of the human voice. When you think about innovation, it's a very real question: why do artists matter? Do they have something to contribute when it comes to change? And the truth is, artists are very much responsible for opening doors. They create the curiosity that can lead to new ideas, that can break habitual thinking. So all of my work infuses technology and exploring how the voice can make new connections. I'm particularly interested in this concept, 8 billion untapped voices. The idea is the human voice is not being pushed to its expressive capacity. We use a limited amount of our expressive tool outside of language, and there can be some amazing contributions to well-being, how we connect to each other, our friends, our loved ones, by pushing this idea. So the question is, how far can a human voice go? Well, the truth is pretty far. Earlier this year, in collaboration with Sister Moon, I bounced my voice off of the moon. Using a radio transmitter, my voice is now traveling out at the speed of light, and the radio waves that reflected off the moon that were sent back and were used for a composition. Despite the poetry of a project like this, showing that our voices can reach and expand, I'm much more interested in creating earthbound experiences. VR, machine learning, AR, as a tool to explore new ideas. And the voice is an incredible gateway to vulnerability. And for someone to change the way they think, to actually make a breaking of habitual thinking, you need to instill vulnerability. You have to take something that we all have, a point of reference, and use that to open someone up. So specifically my practice in technically pushing my voice as far as it can go, I have one of the largest ranges on Earth when it comes to voice. There are many incredible brand new techniques, sound making, expressions, and that's a very strange idea for something as old as we are. The human voice is as old as humanity itself. So how can brand new things happen? And what are its contributions? So in pushing my voice as far as it can go, I started to collaborate a lot with academia. I collaborate with Professor Sophie Scott on a number of voice-based experiments. And it all started with the voice and the mind. The human voice is synonymous with expertise. So when we think of expertise, we can consider the term flow. We are trying to have an intention, and that intention will then manifest as an expression. There is no stammering of concept, and you can also call that expert behavior. Expert behavior on a neurological level can be represented by a hyperactive, localized activity. I was part of an expert behavior study where my performance was scanned in an MRI, and we were able to define this type of flow as I sing, as I perform, as I express, the immediacy of intention, the thought to expression. There is no stammering of concept, and that is expertise. So what is really fascinating is this type of expertise is most commonly found in the voice. Looking at all types of flow state, we are designed to be masterful with our voices. This predisposition means we must push it. We must continue to explore. And it is one of the most accessible, incredible tools for exploring communication with ourselves and with each other. And it is completely free. Sophie Scott has some thoughts on the potential of the human voice.
Musical instruments, and our voices convey emotion and identity and all this kind of social information as well as speaking. I used to say that human voice is the most complex sound in nature, and then Harry made me realise that we are doing the bare minimum with our voices when we talk to each other, and they're capable of so much more.
So thinking about your relationships, the way that you communicate, it's very interesting how often we ignore this fundamental tool. The fact that it affects almost every single relationship in our lives, but not only in an external sense, but inwardly, our sense of self can be manifested. It can be magnified by thinking about our tone, our pitch, our range, our volume. So this sounds like an abstract idea, but these ideas can be applied practically. And as an artist, I really enjoy creating art that solves problems. What are examples of using the voice and technology to kick up narratives and themes that can help us integrate not just socially, but with new technological ideas? I'd like to introduce C sound. C sound is a digital vocal sculpting tool. This was part of a series which focused on augmentation. What is augmented intelligence? How can we collaborate and create new relationships with technology that can push us further, open us up, amplify the types of expertise and skill sets that we want to push? It was a collaboration with Rama Allen and The Mill in New York. And once we made this, as a performer, of course, I can build these sculptures. I've made hundreds and hundreds of different structures like this. But what was very fascinating was when we opened this up to the public. We had about 500 participants speak into this tool, and their voice was manifested like a jewel. Every single voice is like a unique fingerprint. And in engaging with this tool, not only did people start to experiment and play, it revealed a human fundamental, a system, a thing that they are missing. And there was one participant that really changed my whole approach to working with technology. She amplified this idea that tech is introspective. These tools are here to allow us to look inward. She was a very shy young girl. She held onto her father's leg almost like a small koala bear, didn't want to engage with anyone, and she waited in line patiently. She came to the front of the queue, and she said, "Dup-bup-bup," and these small utterances became screams and shouts and laughs. And this small being that didn't want to express, through the augmented relationship with a tool like this, she flowered. She opened up. This represents what we need from technology. And it's this concept of play and experimentation is one of the only ways we can have the general public engage with new ideas to break their habitual thinking. I believe the results of this were extremely beautiful and the feedback was incredible, but in terms of experimentation, I'm interested in more. I'm interested in voicing the voiceless, giving voices to young people, allowing people to speak. The clip I'm about to show you is me visiting an incredible school called Lavelle School for the Blind in New York. And there, they're teaching vocal experimentation to allow young people to gain control of their voices. Many of them struggle with articulation, struggle with forming phrases. And in this next clip, you're going to see a young man called Remy. When Remy speaks, there is non-articulation. But when he sound makes, there is an attack, a precision. And this experimentation is leading to something very interesting in speech therapy.
Yeah, so my name is Harry. I'm really excited to meet you all. I've come to see how you guys beatbox, how you make music.
Who wants to warm up on the microphone? Because I would love to hear what you guys are making. Yeah, ready? Okay, yeah, my friend, you take this.
Okay.
I like to dance.
I like to dance.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Remy.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you got it.
You are crushing it, man. You've been practicing so much. Every time you come back in the summer, you have totally awesome new sounds.
Do you want? No.
Good ass stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to?
Hey.
So a very simple demo, a display, but you can very clearly hear the difference between his articulation in speech and then when he was performing musically. And what's very interesting is we communicate from many systems. When we have an intention, there are many paths for that to follow. And musical systems are not always the same as speech systems. So in this school, they're now teaching to speak with percussion. So part of the Beat Rocker program, Remy started to speak with percussion. And in doing that, he's regained control of speech. He's developed articulation, precision. And this is with an abstract experimentation, a musical system. There is more to find in the human voice. It is universally accessible, it is completely free, and it is untapped. But what is a future voice? What is the future of our voices? And the voice you're about to hear is not me, and it is not human.
Så Östern det så är det mening det var mot the nice in I form so this is and so this is them will even the so that this.
So this piece of technology, using a recurring neural network in collaboration with Dada bots, I became very interested in what is the future of our voice. We are moving into the age of assistance, and more we are having to deal with digital personalities, digital structures. Using this technology, I was able to develop a mentor, a collaborator, and an opponent. My hyperspecialism has been the voice, and I took 5 hours of me performing, speaking, and we trained this incredible tool to perform. I was able to engage with this technology in a way normally there is only a single version of my voice, a single expert, a single specialist. But now using this technology, I was able to create a pet self. So the question is, why does this matter? Again, using the voice as an experimental tool, we're able to test our relationships. It mirrors the human condition. So in using the voice to collaborate with artificial intelligence, we can explore how human beings work with artificial intelligence. And the main idea is very much like a chess AI. Contributing to game theory, now we have some of the most precise, most wonderful forms of human computing that are the result of collaborating with AIs. They can push us, they can test us. So I took this technology and used it to test me as an analogy for how AI can test all of us. This next performance piece is in collaboration with Bell Labs, and it's an attempt to use art, to use expression, to use voice, to make the general public engage with machine learning, using artistic practice to make engagement where there is not. You'll see me interacting with my digital twin, speaking, training, and performing.
One, two, three, four, five. Three, four. I mean, the voice is for
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
and for Prince of Rosem, as is and for with VDM, and this expression is
So as artists, these types of experiments, the fundamental role is to rewrite narratives. I explore and experiment with the voice, but the goal in a piece like this is to undo the narratives of science fiction, to bring the challenges into the present, because many people think they have a choice to engage with new ideas and new technologies, but the truth is they are here. Artists are the empathy end of the process, and they are needed to break habitual thinking. My aim is to change habitual thinking globally when it comes to the limits of the human voice. On average, we use only 20% of our vocal capacity globally. So with art, performance, experience, experimentation, if I can increase that number globally, I can increase the well-being of the entire planet, how we connect with each other and ourselves. The voice is a universally accessible and sustainable tool. The voice is the most common form of expertise, making it possible to teach music, communication, and expression at zero cost. The relationship between voice and technology is one we must continue to challenge. Voice-centered experience design is a key way to access individuals in a new and groundbreaking way. These new ideas around the human voice in teaching and inspiring can really give people a voice. And the biggest challenge we face today is silence. People need to express their ideas. They have to communicate. So I ask you, what is the future of your voice? Thank you.